So today we're going to sort of try and contain this workshop around direction and pathways, even small gestures as well. We're just going to try and play with what kind of intentionality maybe, or maybe you could say, when you move, what determines the direction? What is causing that movement within a certain direction? Or we can ask also, is it intention? Is it curiosity? Is it gravity, rhythm, chance? Or does it have other thematic, emotive, maybe, qualities that are causing that? So we'll jump right in. So we're going to start with sort of lines and traces. What kind of line does your movement make? What kind of line does your movement make? And so in this, I'd like you to explore. You can either start by walking or start directly in movement, and look at what traces and what lines you can make in the space or with your different body parts, with different limbs, different moving parts, and play with sort of straight lines, curved lines, circular lines, zigzag lines, and just have a play with those pathways, drawing in the air. One person who really works with these qualities is William Forsythe, and I will link to their improvisation technology lectures, which really breaks down these ideas of tracing and drawing lines in space. It's beautiful. But for now, we're just going to play with what kind of qualities do these lines have, which feel familiar, which resist you, which are hard to do, and just play with these different traces and lines that you can make in the air, in your room, and play with some curiosity. So go away, do that, and come back in 10-20 minutes once you've had a go. Hopefully you got a sense of the imaginary around creating lines and directions through traces that the body leaves in space, right? This idea that we linger somehow through a movement. That directionality is caused through a sense of drawing almost in the air, in the room. This time, I'd like to ask, what happens when you get lost, when you let yourself get lost? So you can start with a clear line, choose a direction in any way, moving, walking, however, and then start to slightly deviate. Follow distractions or impulses in the body, in the room, in the mind. Maybe sounds, allow a sound to redirect the movement, or allow some sort of sensation or movement perhaps in your visual plane to distract you and deviate from that direction. So we're sort of like following, deviating, following, deviating, following, deviating. And let yourself wander and see if you can lose the path, if a new one emerges, if you find yourself in a dance of directions, and consider the different body parts maybe producing different directions and different orientations. And ask yourself, how does it feel to lose orientation? And what helps you find it again? So how is our understanding of direction playing a role in our dancing? Okay, pause the recording and spend a few minutes following and losing and finding direction again. Okay. Okay, now we've played a little bit with this wandering body that's been interrupted and redirected and directed. Now I'd like to come to a little bit of a stillness and ask, where does the body want to go? So standing still, sitting still, lying still, however you wish. Just let the subtle pull of the body move you. Like as if the body is a compass, right? And it has a magnetic pull. So without deciding, let your body lead. Have the faint impulse as you breathe, turn, shift, and lean towards different places and directions. And also notice where your magnetic center is in your compass. Is it in your sternum, or is it in your pelvis, or is it in your breath where your compass directs you from? And we can ask ourselves exactly which parts are orientating us first, and maybe what happens, or which parts are stopping and steering us, or when do we stop and steer ourselves? Or can directions move continuously and never end? Okay, so pause here and have a slow exploration of letting the body direct and move you. Not from the mind, not from impulses, external, but from a sort of felt place. Yeah. So have a pause and come back in a few minutes once you've tried that. Hopefully that was interesting. And just to stay with this idea of the compass, I'd like to borrow an exercise that Robert Malmberg proposed to me, where instead of thinking of your body as having a sort of right and left, try to imagine it oriented always by the cardinal directions. So when you move towards the north, that is your north side of your body moving north, and it can shift and move south maybe, and the other side can start to move north. So that no longer think of I'm moving my left arm, I'm moving my north arm, which turns into my north shoulder, which maybe spirals round, and then what was my right arm can start to become my north arm. And that the directions of the cardinal directions, so you might want to look those up, use your phone to see which way is north, or just make it up for yourself. Choose directions which you think to be north, south, east and west, and see what happens if you label the directionality of the body through the cardinal directions, rather than this is my right leg, this is my right shoulder, and maybe you even start to lose a sense of what parts are as specific identifiers, and start to imagine yourself moving within the planet, within the magnetic cardinal directions of something bigger than even the room you're in. Okay, have a play with that, have a go, and just see what this idea of the compass can bring to your directions and your movement. Either that was super interesting, or perhaps it was confusing and unhelpful, but hopefully it started to allow us to investigate direction in a different way. Now I'd like to look at momentum and redirection a little bit closer. So we could ask, how do you continue without continuing in the same way? So begin a continuous movement. It can be walking, swinging, or spinning, moving. Just a continuous movement, and notice how momentum builds up. And let it be interrupted perhaps by gravity, by the wall, by another body part, by another body, by a piece of furniture, by something like a tree, and let those interruptions redirect the momentum. So see how you generate a continuous movement, build up some momentum in that movement, and allow it to be interrupted by something as subtle as gravity, or something as sort of concrete as a wall or a tree or another body or one's own body part. And just explore how that redirection feels, and how it feels different maybe from stopping. So as you hit the wall, for example, here's a clear example, can you feel as though you go through the wall, or that the wall is no longer really a complete block, but just something that redirects and reconfigures one's directionality, one's momentum, one's movement? And we can ask ourselves, is direction a matter of choice or response? Are we responding, or is it a choice? And what does it mean to move with resistance? What is resistance adding to movement, or what is movement adding to the resistances that we experience? All right, so going to pause, spend a few minutes here playing with how momentum changes and how you can shift direction without losing flow. So let's pause. Okay, great. Hopefully that built up a little bit of heat, a bit of energy, and yeah, it was interesting in some way. Now I just quickly want to move on to like a final exercise, perhaps an exercise in forgetting. I'd like you can do this small, it can be small directions within the body, it doesn't have to be big, energetic, high momentum, it can, but this can be a sort of slower exercise. And in this, I'd like you move in a direction and see if you can forget the intention of that direction, and then see if you can find another understanding of that direction, and see if you can forget that. So always allowing a sort of refresh, a constant forgetting and reorienting or reconfiguring what that directionality is. And try to sort of, the idea I think is to lose a little bit of the sense of knowing the direction, but always trying to readjust and understand what that direction could be as we're experiencing it. And hopefully that can produce spirals, curves, zigzags, lines, arcs, different types of trace or movement and direction, but in forgetting. So pause here and take a moment and just follow a movement until you forget which way it's going, and refresh and see which way it is now going, always forgetting the initial intention of that movement. Again, playing a little bit with, am I choosing or am I being led by this dance? All right, we'll pause here and we'll come back in a minute. That was interesting, and hopefully it also gives us a little bit more richness around what is direction, and perhaps also it allows us to then understand or go back to that question of what is our felt sense of dance. So when we are sitting, not doing anything that would normally feel like dance, or when we are traveling somewhere on a bus or walking somewhere, going somewhere, that we see how these directions are at play, are in conversation with our body, with our experience, with our world, with this sort of choreography of influence and choice making that we are a party to, and how maybe these traces are ourselves, are our persons through time and space. Every line, every curve, spiral, detour, random coincidence, something we put our attention on or not, the impulses, the care we take in our movement, in our being, as we draw our own pathways through the world, in a way. Through breathing, through being, through movement. But that's it for today. I'm going to keep doing this. This has been a lot of fun for me, and hopefully it is for you. Try to reflect, take some notes, consider what you found, what was interesting, what wasn't interesting. And if you can, if you wish, let me know. Write to me, tell me if you're finding anything, if this is interesting at all, if we could do something together, maybe. Otherwise, I'll keep doing this alone. But hopefully not. Thank you for today. See you soon. Hi, Thanks for listening. If you can support the podcast, please go to paypal.me/dancepeter. I'm just looking for a little bit of funding to help support the cost of the hosting. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much.